Time now for the big board. Our team of insiders standing by live to weigh in on today's top stories. We're here with Darren Ravel from ESPN. Your story's coming right up. We're going to start out with a new report about O.J. Simpson's life behind bars. The L.A. Times is revealing new details on what it's really like for O.J. inside Nevada's Lovelock Correctional Center. Let's talk to legal analyst Ariva Martin about all that. And Ariva, they really have been able to dig up some real detail here.
Yeah, George, what we're learning about O.J. Simpson's time in prison is that in some ways it's pretty mundane. He gets up in the morning, he has breakfast, then he's off to a job. He works in the prison's gymnasium where he's wiping gym equipment, he's sweeping and he's mopping. And after his job, he's back in his cell, spending lots of time, from what we're learning, reading and trying to get ready for his parole hearing. But you have to juxtapose that mundane existence with his celebrity status. Apparently, he's still getting lots of fan mail, and he's serving as a commissioner over a prison baseball league. So you have this guy who's doing some pretty mundane things, but he's leveraging that celebrity status.
Commissioner of the baseball league. That's not mundane.
You talked about that parole hearing. Any idea of when he could be walking the streets again and what he'll face in the general public?
So what we know, Amy, is that in October of next year, he goes before the parole board again. We're learning that he has a pretty good prison record. He's stayed away from conflicts, and he will be able to present that to the parole board. However, if he is successful, he has a huge financial issue that he will face once he's released, and that's that $33 million civil judgment that was obtained by the Goldman family in their civil lawsuit against him. We know that the Goldmans are really intent on collecting on that judgment. So once out of prison, still financial burdens and reintegrating himself into the community.
All right, Ariva, thanks so much. Now to America's famous crime family, the Gottis, back in the spotlight. Federal agents raiding the Long Island mansion of Victoria Gotti, the daughter of late mafia don John Gotti. Former NYPD detective Nick Casal joins us now. And Nick, her ex-husband Carmine the Bull Agnello is awaiting trial on racketeering charges. Is the raid connected to that? What's going on here?
Well, the IRS agents are looking, my sources tell me, for business records and evidence that will support their case. And they're getting this from good sources on the inside. Carmine Agnello did 9 years in prison. He was Victoria's former husband and John Gotti's son-in-law. What's happened is that his former auto body shop in Queens was raided along with Victoria's house out in Long Island. But he did 9 years in prison in Cleveland. He went out there. I guess that's a transfer for the mob. It wasn't the only place that would take him. And he's now running some operations there. And they're accusing him also of pouring sand into body parts of cars to sell to the junkyards.
You know, John Gotti had some juice, but is the Gotti family now, is it still a force in the New York mob?
No, not at all, George. And really, look, they came into power on the gun when John Gotti took out Paulie Castellano. But even among law enforcement, they always knew that they weren't royalty to the mob. In fact, they used to call them the Howard Beach Hillbillies. You know, just picture if Vito Corleone ever sat down at the table and says, look, I want my people to sell prescription medicine at a discount. I want them to pour sand into auto parts that we're going to sell to the junkyard. I mean, this is far from racketeering. It's two-bit gangstering. Look, even when it comes to Junior, he wasted all that shoe leather in Hollywood trying to sell his father's story, and John Travolta is going to be playing John Gotti. and you know what? Insiders tell me that they made John Travolta an offer he couldn't refuse as far as the financial end goes.
I'm sure that's right, Nick. Okay, thanks very much. And now we're going to move on to Twitter's move that could change the way we watch sports. Overnight, they debuted their NFL live stream. It featured the New York Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills, first of 10 Thursday night games. Let's talk to ESPN's Darren Ravel about this right now. We all know that Twitter has been struggling in some ways. Will the NFL save it?
Well, listen, people were so surprised, I think, by the quality of the stream, that it looked like TV. There was only a 15 to 20
Real easy to get to.
second,
right?
easy to get to. You didn't have to authenticate, but just type in your cable provider. And this is much needed, at least for Twitter, in terms of positivity, because they're being compared to Facebook and Snapchat. Do they have enough monthly active users? Wall Street's been killing them. This establishes them more as a media company than being social. And, this is good for them. Now, one thing is they paid $10 million for this, for 10 games. The real market value for this is around $150 million. So they got a real deal here. If this turns out to be great, kind of a devil's thing here, because they're now going to probably be paying real market value.
And several networks obviously air NFL games, including ESPN. And Forbes called this the biggest change agent to sports viewing. How do you think this is going to impact how we watch sports?
I think it's going to, listen, I work for ESPN. There's Watch ESPN. There's hours and hours of digital live viewing. I think the key here is what I just talked about, that word authentication. When people have to type in their cable subscriber,
it's so annoying.
It's one step. It's one step.
I never know my cable password.
What is my password?
I give up. I don't even do it.
Do you know your cable password?
Nope.
I don't either.
I'm calling my husband. Do you know our cable password?
And that one step. So is this all going to kind of give pressure to those who put out digital but make you type in that password, which you think might take hours to figure out?
Or days or never, because I can't find it.
Okay, before you all go, let's go back to John Gotti for a second. Nick, you were talking about John Travolta playing John Gotti, but I want to know, of all the movies, all the television shows, who is your favorite boss on television?
Oh, it has to be. Anybody could write a line that says, leave the gun, take the cannoli. Godfather 1.
Arriva?
Godfather 1, Michael Corleone for sure.
Yeah, I like Donnie Brasco, though.
Ooh, that's a good one.
As an actual Don. I like Donnie Brasco. I couldn't just be the third guy to say
Actually, I
but Corleone
go with
is
Pacino in Godfather 3.
Yeah.
I love Pacino.
It's Pacino either way, right?
Pacino.
All right, I want to thank everybody, Darren, Nick, and Arriva.